Hello, everybody. Drew here for Drew That Underground, back with Breaking Rocks number 70. What the fuck you doing, Microsoft? And also, among other things at the end, politically, that we gotta get into. Anyway, how you guys doing? You alright? That actually was a legit cough that time. Also joining me is a guy who actually has a clip now. But before I do,
We love our home, and if you don't, pack your bags, you're free to go. Don't let the big door hit you with a good low speaker. Wave goodbye to Joe.
now my usual partner and his new clip.
Okay, kid. Give it to me.
Hey, bro.
Hey there.
Chucking bricks. No,
Yeah.
nor is chucking Bic lighters.
Well, to be fair, I asked for it, so.
Just come in throwing bricks like an LA protester.
Yeah.
How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Remember in 2020 when we mentioned on the earlier days of doing these things, I believe I said something like, it seems like the world is burning down around us.
Well, the thing about paying attention to events of the world is that you will always find something interesting and something worth hyperventilating about.
And
You
in
will
this
always find that if you look.
and in this case today, where the fuck's my notebook? There it is. There's a lot to discuss today on episode 70. Thank God this isn't on episode 69 like last time.
I mean, you may think it's funny to say it, but even the times we consider to be good, times of peace and tranquility, like say, the 50s or maybe the 90s, people would still, if you had gone back and watched podcasts or videos or interviews or whatever from people, John Q. Public types back then, there was always something for people to scream about. There was always something.
No. We're gonna obviously start with the gaming stuff first. Then we'll get into Pam Bondi and the cover up shit in the Trump White House at the end.
Yep.
So with that in mind, let's see here. Let's head to X to show you guys what we're talking about here. Come on. Click share screen. Thank you. So, here we go. Scroll past all the political stuff first. I don't know why that's still here. I removed that one because that was the worst shit. Here we go. Xbox. For those that don't know, recently Xbox has shut down a bunch of studios, canceled a shit ton of games, and yeah. So Xbox has also canceled Project Blackbird, which was by ZeniMax Online, who makes Elder Scrolls Online. It was meant to be a new MMORPG game from the makers of the Elder Scrolls Online, like I just said. So, that got canceled. Perfect Dark got canceled. The Initiative got shut down. Undead Labs got a bunch of layoffs. Rare got a bunch of layoffs. And Greg Mayles, the creator of Banjo-Kazooie, has parted ways with Rare as well. Oh, and here's Mr. Matty Plays. Xbox since the top of 2024. The Initiative closed down. Project Perfect Dark canceled. Everwild canceled. That's the other one in the thumbnail. ZeniMax Studios IP canceled. 50% of Turn 10 gone. That's the mainline Forza team. 10% of King gone, which is Candy Crush. Bro.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Layoffs for Raven Software, which is Call of Duty Black Ops series. Arcane Austin closed down. Tango Gameworks nearly lost forever, which we previously covered right here on this channel.
Yep.
Alpha Dog Games closed down. Roadhouse Studios closed down. Blizzard's Odyssey canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Blizzard doesn't deserve to be supported on another game. They've fucked themselves so hard, I don't even know where to begin.
And then there's this from XBG on X. Should I switch to PlayStation? At least they don't have games to cancel. That's not true. But that is funny, though, bro.
Well, I would think every developer, no matter how small or large, is working on something.
Yeah.
I mean, why would they exist if they're not working on anything?
Windows Central investigation reports that Perfect Dark and ZeniMax Online Studios new IP have been canceled. Yes, indeed. This is all over the place.
The thing about ZeniMax, we call it Zenny on ESO,
Okay.
is that they're not that great, honestly. They've been doing a lot of revenue baiting, and that's about it. Their recent IPs have been very uncreative, and honestly, they have been sitting on a treasure trove of lore content for Elder Scrolls that they won't touch.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether that's because they aren't allowed to touch it or because they're just too untalented and lazy, or if they don't want to actually put in any effort and earn people's money. I don't know. Whatever it is. Whatever the case may be, them losing a project doesn't actually piss me off that much.
Yeah.
They're just they're almost on the level with Blizzard to me. I mean, granted, ESO, I don't hate ESO, obviously. I played it a lot. But that thing has been spinning its wheels for the better part of 4 or maybe even 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know what else to say about it other than it's their pride and joy, and it's not really breaking any land speed records here, So
Indeed.
they're overrated, obviously, and I couldn't argue any other way that they are absolutely an overrated developer.
Yeah.
So they've been hiring woke fuck sticks for years too. They're one of these companies that is like, oh, you have purple hair, you're hired.
Except for in closing down the initiative, a bunch of them just got laid off.
No, I know. They always spite themselves. They're always hiring and then having to fire the Wokies because the Wokies don't know what the hell they're doing.
And
or they're there to literally destroy the gaming industry.
And PlayStation has a lot of them too, and now apparently Nintendo may not, but Nintendo is just greedy as fuck.
Yeah, I would assume it's more greed with Nintendo, yeah.
Yeah, because look how many consoles they're bricking over people playing used Switch games on it. Huh?
Yeah, I don't get that either, but yeah.
Okay, Xbox a la 2013 there with the Switch 2.
Yeah.
So in other words, Nintendo, as we joke about, is literally, with the used games things, somewhere about 12 years behind Xbox.
Yeah, but
12 years
not
behind.
In terms of avarice, because in terms of avarice, they're right on par.
Yeah, but as usual, Nintendo's 12 years behind everybody else.
Yeah.
Except for they're older than everybody else. Figure that out for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But.
Yeah, well, dinosaurs sometimes walk slow, hey?
And also think slow, too.
Yeah.
Excuse me. However, Pride Star here says, Today, Xbox layoffs are extremely heartbreaking and demonstrate how mismanaged they are as a company. Indeed. Perfect Dark, one of Xbox's most promising games, I disagree, was cancelled, which baffles me. The cancellation of Rare's Everwild is also disappointing because it had a unique art style. That is true, bro.
Oh yeah. No, and again, this is kind of like all collateral damage for a lot of bad choices they've made.
Yeah.
All the critiquing we've been doing for the last few years of this, of the gaming industry, is kind of like slowly but surely all coming home to roost on them. Because when you waste this much money on games that nobody buys, and you tell the gamers to go F themselves over and over and over, you make shit nobody wants to play, nobody wants to buy. Eventually, you run out of money to use to make new games, and you have to
Yeah.
start axing things. Well, that's
And
that's what's happening now.
yeah. And speaking of the PlayStation side of things with that one meme, should I switch to PlayStation because they don't have games to cancel? The Gaming Profit and NYC here. Xbox canceled 2 games. The media and fanboys. Xbox is dead. Versus PlayStation canceling 8 games. The media and fanboys. Nothing but silence. So, Destruction All Stars. Lucid Games released. Gran Turismo 7 released. Helldivers 2 Arrowhead released. Concord taken offline and shut down. But we already know why.
Yeah, Concord, by the way, one of the greatest losses in revenue in video game production history.
Yeah. Marathon from Bungie, September 23rd release. Uh, Fair Games, Haven Studio, spring of next year. Horizon MP, Guerrilla Games, to be decided. Horizon MMO, to be decided. Team LFG title. Bungie spin-off team, to be decided. Dark Outlaw Games, to be decided. Media Molecule live service game, to be decided. Last of Us Online, Naughty Dog, cancelled. Twisted Metal, cancelled. Spider-Man, The Great Web, cancelled. London Studio live service game, cancelled. God of War live service game, cancelled. Ben Studio live service game, cancelled. And Deviation Games title, cancelled. But you see, here's the thing. With all the canceled games, how many of them are actually well-known names? Twisted Metal, yeah. Spider-Man, yeah. Last of Us, unfortunately, yeah. God of War, yeah. All these other ones, like the thing from Media Molecule, we don't know what that was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
London Studio, we don't know what that was going to be. Ben Studio, who is known for what the hell is the name of that zombie game? Anyway, not really one
You're
of.
talking about the new Silent Hill?
No, this came out on the PS4.
Oh, okay.
Days Gone.
Oh, yeah, Days Gone. Yeah, that's
I'm 40. I'm 41 years old. People, fuck off. But I think you get the point there. Is that, yeah, PlayStation has games that they can cancel, and they do a bunch at a time.
Yep.
But so does Xbox a bunch at a time, because this is misleading. This person saying that Xbox cancels 2 games. No, there was more than just 2, dude. And we already went over
okay, the reason
pretty much all of them.
I think the reason that this is more newsworthy is because Xbox doesn't usually do this much.
Yeah, they
at
don't.
once, and they haven't been having the struggles that Sony has.
Yeah,
in terms of game cancellations and project canceling.
Yeah.
Sony's been doing this for a little while now, whereas Xbox really kind of wasn't. They were just announcing new stuff all the time, but now they're starting to have to cancel things. Okay, so I think what happened was the chickens coming home to roost, so to speak, came back to Sony first, and now they've come back to Microsoft also.
Yeah.
And other people, I think, have taken it to a little too far of an extreme, though, because then there are some people saying, oh, well, see, this is evidence of the coming collapse of the gaming industry, kind of like the comic book industry saw. And I'm like, well, I don't quite know that it would turn into a collapse of the industry, but they definitely have hurt themselves very badly. And this is millions upon millions of dollars. I mean, probably more than several $100 million worth of screw ups.
Yeah.
And I know that Microsoft is a multi-billion-dollar company. I'm aware of that. So, they can probably take the hit as a company. But, I mean, the executives rumble about not even wanting to be in gaming anymore at all. So, I mean, they could easily just say, screw it, we're pulling the plug on our entire gaming division entirely.
Yeah.
And then what? I mean, then you've got an entire sector of the gaming world that has to basically go screw itself. You know?
Yeah.
And there were some good things. And I think that, the Xbox Live service when it first came out was brilliant. It was ahead of its time. It was brilliant. And what they've done with that has been good for the most part going forward. The price, yeah, whatever, is debatable. Maybe it's too expensive, whatever. Some people don't justify buying it, whatever. But the idea was brilliant. And nobody else could keep up with what they were offering with that service.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else was just trying to do that, but do it in a different way to make it seem like they didn't just take the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, that whole thing is what brought gaming into the current realm it's in, where most games are online multiplayer. Most games are, either by service or in some way internet connected. Like, they're not offline games, they're not hard copy games. That was a decision they made more recently. Obviously, we disagreed with that one. I still
Yeah.
disagree with that one
Mm-hmm.
because physical media will always be superior. They can't take away a copy you bought and holding in your hand. But if you bought it digitally, they definitely can.
Like
Um,
this right here.
yeah.
Physical copy of Squirrel with a Gun.
Now, the regulators of the industry, whoever they may be, FCC and such, they're terrible at what they do. They haven't done their job at all.
Yeah.
It's a damn joke, frankly. They're just bought by the industry, as far as I can tell. Either that or they don't care enough. I mean, maybe the regulators are just like, whatever, video games, who cares? Nobody cares. That's kiddie shit. We don't care. And so they just let them do whatever the hell they want and rip off customers and fuck over the gamers and basically don't give a shit about their customers and scam them and hose them all day long. Maybe that's what it is, um, but all of this is basically just Microsoft having to deal with its own choices.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it goes from here. Maybe it's just like, oh well, they're just going to go down the road that Sony's been down for the last 2 years. Maybe they're just going to go down the road of like, well, we're just going to keep doing this. We're going to, sit on our laurels and pretend nothing's wrong until, we have to face the wall, with having to cancel shit people actually do really severely care about. I mean, eventually you can't take off. You can clip your toenails, but you can't cut your feet off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you do that, then you can't walk. So what Microsoft has to avoid doing is cutting its own feet off and not being able to walk.
Yeah.
It has to be cutting fat. It can't be trimming off valid and viable and life-giving parts of itself.
But I'm
It
glad you bring that up because apparently the reason for all these cuts at Xbox is so Xbox can invest money into AI at
Yeah.
Microsoft for, I guess, gaming reasons.
Well, I
But do
mean,
you
everybody's trying to get into that across the entire IT realm. So
but do you want to take a guess at how much money apparently Microsoft is intending on investing into AI?
probably billions, I would assume.
Do give me a number for a guess.
Well, I don't know, probably somewhere near 10 billion, probably.
You're off by quite a bit.
I'm off by quite a bit. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, try $80 billion.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess I was going for tens of billions, but
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that more money than they spent to buy Call of Duty and Activision?
yeah, it is.
So why the fuck did you have to do that if you wanted to do this? You could have not done that, done this, and then not laid people off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it maybe again, like I said, the upper executive people have been talking about going away from gaming altogether, and
Yeah,
honestly, I don't know what they think they would have accomplished without their gaming division,
yeah,
but a lot of the money that they are sitting on now to be able to invest in this AI stuff is all from gaming revenue. Because I mean, they do have their other services. They do have their Microsoft services, and they have their computer sales. But
yeah,
at a certain point, all of the attention and all of the PR that's been going on with Microsoft is all on the gaming side.
yeah,
Like
and
you're not getting a lot of rumblings from the computer side.
yeah,
Yeah, there's products, but the all of the news stuff, all of the people talking about stuff is all gaming related.
yeah. And speaking of gaming related stuff, what we're going to do to end this part of it before we get into the political side of it, and we will warn you before we do so, so those that are watching, if anybody is watching live, if you're watching after the fact, if you don't care about the gaming, you can fast forward to the political discussion about what's going on politically here in the United States after we're done with what we're going to be doing here with Xbox. And if you only care about the gaming, we'll warn you beforehand so you could stop watching at that point and go about your business
Yeah.
if you don't want to get into the political shit. But I figured we end the gaming thing discussion with skimming through Xbox's game showcase from about a month ago or so in June. So right around my birthday, because I haven't seen this. I don't know if you have or not, bro.
I don't think I have.
Yeah. So what I figured we would do is skim through this and look at all the games that they announce in this and try to figure out which ones you and I think will actually come out and or which ones we think will get canceled because that's where we're at with Xbox. Because keep in mind that
This is a
Everwild
2 hour long video, bro.
that's
So you
that's
better
why
skim fast.
that's why I said skim through it.
Yeah.
And that's also why I said to you previously this is going to be a long stream,
Yeah.
which is why I said make sure you charge your damn phone
Yeah. No,
because
I'm
this is going to be a
aware of
long
this.
one. So here we go. I'll play. Thank you. Are you over the age of 18, bro?
Of
And
course.
we're starting out pissing off PlayStation gamers. Oh, wait, that's an ad. Never mind.
Even
I
the ad pisses
was,
off the gamers.
yeah, well, I saw an ad for Death Stranding 2, and I thought that meant that was going to Xbox. Because that would have pissed off PlayStation fanboys for sure at that point, you know?
Sure.
Looks like we're starting with Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's Black Ops 6.
Okay. Well, that's obviously coming out, bro.
Yeah, but it's creatively bankrupt though.
Yeah. So obviously, our prediction is Call of Duty is going to come out. They're not going to cancel that because they spent too much money
Sure, they
to acquire
develop it
it.
into it's the games they've been making for Call of Duty are just so massive too in terms of, file size.
And
They're almost
then
unmanageable.
we got Doom here, which is
Yeah.
out already.
Sure, they can't do anything to cancel that at this point.
Yeah. I think this is the third zombie game from from Undead Labs.
Yeah.
State of Decay 3, I think.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see if this comes out. Yeah, here it is.
Uh-huh.
State of Decay
Yeah,
3,
no, and
yeah.
it's woke as hell. You can totally tell.
Yeah, and we'll see if that gets canceled or not. My prediction is it probably will.
Well, I mean, whether or not it gets canceled, it probably is going to have another wave of critical, panning, because
Electronic
that's what
Arts,
they always do to
BioWare.
themselves.
This obviously has to be an expansion to Veilguard for
Sure,
Dragon
which
Age.
literally no one fucking wants.
Yeah,
Oh my god, expand on a game which was a total mistake. Yay.
yeah.
I mean, Veilguard was a major flop. I hope they realize that. Like, it was on par with Assassin's Creed Shadows in terms of reception being like
So
blah.
here's the new characters for the expansion.
And they always try to make it interesting, but it's like when they've already screwed the pooch with the original release, I'm like, why would I care about DLC? It's like,
Yeah, because when your game can't do things that a game that came out in 2011, Skyrim, can do, like knock things off the table, you got a fucking problem.
everything related to Veilguard can go fuck itself, because I know the development team of that
Or
game hates
or
gamers.
or was that Avowed?
Yeah, Valve was bad too.
Yeah, that was Avowed with the table thing.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to. It's so easy to confuse what one woke turd with another.
Yeah, because they're all the same.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, when it's, again, they make these games because they're always trying to include people who are not even gamers. They end up screwing the entire point up.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I mean, Veilguard was a fucking nightmare release for them anyway. I mean, for me, it was like, not playing that shit. So I mean, it's, if you look through all of these, you
Oh
find
wait,
that,
this was a year ago. This is the
yeah.
wrong thing then.
Well, I was gonna say those are all sort of out already games, but a lot
Give
of
me a
those were
second.
like f ups. So
That was the wrong thing then. That was a year ago.
yeah, well, a lot of it did look familiar.
Okay, this is supposed to be from. Okay, then I guess we'll do the Summer Games Fest one because I thought that was the one from just recent. This appears to be the one. Yeah, a sec here. Well, obviously, as you guys can tell, we're not professionals whatsoever.
Oh well.
This should be it. And obviously, I'm keeping it muted. Not for copyright reasons, because this channel isn't monetized at all, and I don't give a shit. I just prefer not to listen to the stupid bullshit going on in the thing. Ever?
Yeah.
Besides, this is
Don't you find it interesting how no matter how many years go by, the games that come out that are new still look like games from 10 years ago
lately.
or
Okay,
more, games from 20 years ago?
Okay, so this is Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll find a way to fuck that one up.
Yeah. And also, apparently, Obsidian was also getting some layoffs as well.
And honestly, it looks like exactly like the typical Bethesda,
This is Obsidian, though.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. The typical group of developers involved with Fallout.
Yeah.
It's got the feel of Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's like they just reskinned Fallout. But again, based off of the original Outer Worlds, which was a
Yeah.
decent game, came out several years ago at this point, though.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're gonna not do anything new, you're just gonna make more sequel games. It's like you're nostalgia baiting us again.
Yeah.
It's all they know how to do. Either nostalgia bait us or give us woke crap we don't want.
Yeah.
The new IPs are rare. Real rare.
Oh
And most
wait,
of them come from
I
game developers.
I did see this.
Yeah.
Well, then obviously you didn't, and then this is some Life is Strange shit, which a guy that used to do this YouTube stuff with us was very high on this game, bro.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it was one of those games where, okay, it's definitely creative. We will give it that. But, I mean, it's kind of silly, though, actually. Like, you kind of wonder how much that particular game takes itself seriously. And, I mean, my indication was that it didn't take itself seriously at all. Um, like, like a really, like, super action-packed game where your attention span can be like 2 seconds and you still enjoy it.
Yeah.
Not a thinking man's game, not a brilliant, not landmark anything. It's just a game that is kind of like dumb fun, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then there's that game, Resonance. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not one of those games that's a movie masquerading as a game.
Yeah. How likely do you, oh, it's from the Plague Tale
Yeah.
legacy thing.
Sure, which
How,
we already know is basically a film that
so that's
pretends it's a
probably
video
going to
game.
be coming out.
Yeah.
And then next up is the handheld announcement for the Xbox handheld. In other words, the Steam Deck knockoff, bro.
Uh
But wait till you do you know what it's called?
huh. No, I don't.
Well, just wait till you see that.
Sure.
So then we're gonna get Nord's thoughts on the Xbox handheld and its name and everything here live in a natural reaction for you guys.
Yeah. By the way, cloud streaming games is actually really bad because the latency gets to be really high.
Yeah,
But hey, don't let that stop them.
yeah,
It basically means that you're not going to get any meaningful competitiveness in your games whatsoever.
impulsive triggers. So they're just gonna randomly do their own thing.
Yeah, I can see that going to hell in a handbasket too.
It's called the Xbox Ally.
Sure. Yeah.
As if you didn't need any more evidence that Xbox is woke, bro.
Sure. And I mean, pretty much a Switch ripoff, but hey, what do I know?
Oh, shut up. No one wants to hear you. And fortunately, you're muted.
They talk about themselves so valiantly, like they're doing such incredible cultural work, and it's like I
Yeah,
don't care, guys. You never used to be this preachy. Just put a fucking game out.
Yeah,
Let the game speak for itself instead of always talking about how
and
hard the process of developing it was.
and here's yet another vampire game.
Yeah.
A new Meat Boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see if that makes it to release ever.
Well, I mean, that type of game is one of those ones where it's not that depth, not that deep.
Yeah, but with
It's just another one of those ones that's dumb fun, like I said.
but 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 the reason that we have to keep asking that is we'll see if this game comes out. We'll see if this one gets canceled or not because Xbox apparently likes canceling games now.
Yeah.
About as
Well,
much
they
as
well, I mean, they don't have a choice when they don't have enough money to fund the games.
except for when Sony cancels a game, it's not after they've already publicly announced it. Xbox cancels games regularly after they've already announced them.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't keep that information to themselves. They were like, "Hey, by the way, did you know that we just failed again?"
Yeah.
It's like you didn't need to tell me that.
And
Like, how
this
about you
looks
guys
like
announce it? How about you
Final
guys announce a
Fantasy.
game when it's about to come out? How about that?
Oh, it's Ninja Gaiden 4. Okay.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4, of course. It's
Coming
nostalgia
October
baiting.
of this year.
We'll see if that actually makes it.
Game Pass and PC.
Yeah, I mean, again, nostalgia baiting is one of the only things they do.
We got Bethesda now.
And of course, more nostalgia baiting, everybody. That right there is literally nothing but a nostalgia bait.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the purest nostalgia baits I've seen in a long time. They just break out the member berries every time
Yeah.
with these
And
games.
and a new adventure begins with Indiana.
Yeah, whatever.
Except for the game they were just the part they were just showing is already out.
I mean, again, good IP, great character, great
Uh-huh.
story, obviously, and probably gonna end up being a good game. It's just that the strategy these people have is so uncreative.
And there's also the reports of Lucasfilm wanting to reboot the whole Indiana
Yeah, I
franchise.
know. That's because they're seeing the success of, this type of nostalgia baiting. And they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, money? We can make money?"
And,
Oh,
and you and I both know they're going to try to get Pedro Pascal to be Dr. Jones.
which would be a sacrilege of high
Uh-huh.
proportions.
Indeed.
I'm really sick of seeing Pedro in like everything. It's getting really tiresome.
Yeah, he's turning into The Rock.
Well,
Dwayne,
sure,
Dwayne Johnson.
but at least The Rock was never an insufferable asshole like Pedro is.
Yeah, not near as much, no.
Because Pedro runs his mouth all the time, whereas The Rock didn't do that,
True. But he also was,
except about fellow actors occasionally. But
yeah.
it wasn't. The Rock hasn't been like this big, loudmouth political jerkwad,
And
whereas Pedro
here,
has.
bro,
Yeah,
here we go with a canceled game that we know it. No, never mind. This is from Game Freak,
yeah, hmm
who made the Pokemon Color games.
sure. Which we haven't heard from them in a long time.
Now they're making a weird Everwild meets Ghost of Tsushima thing.
Yeah, it's typical samurai baiting.
Meets Fallout type thing with the robots. So take Ghost of Tsushima, take Everwild, which is now canceled, and take Fallout and put them together, and this is what you get.
Yep.
So let's see here. What's up next? This looks like a Bioshock type thing, but I believe this is called Clockwork or something like that.
Sure, there's another steampunk is another
Yeah,
type of style they won't
yeah,
stop milking.
yeah. That's that Clockwork game. Control the future. It's easier to control the past, though, bro.
Clockwork Revolution. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Just completely milking the absolute piss and tits out of the steampunk theme. As
Mm-hmm.
if it hasn't already been milked to death already.
We'll see if that game comes out. Oh, shut up, Matt Booty. You're an asshole. But then again, you probably it's obligated for someone to be an asshole when your last name is Booty, right?
I guess. Yeah.
So this is that when Bug, Honey I Shrunk the Kids type thing.
Yeah.
Um,
This is the sequel to what's it called? Uh, what the hell? I forgot. I've played the first one.
no, not Playground, but something similar.
Yeah.
They will obviously show us at the end.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, so am I. But as it is, though.
Yeah.
Grounded.
Grounded. Yeah. Grounded.
Yeah,
Um.
July 29th. So that's coming soon, unless it gets canceled
Sure,
too.
and it's one of the only titles that you can actually justify its existence
Yeah,
without saying, "Oh, well, it's not a game that should be made." No, it's Grounded was a good game. It was not an original idea, mind you, but it was definitely a good game, a playable game. But kind of silly and kiddie, though. I mean, not really the most serious game. And so for the sequel, it will be probably the same way, I'd assume.
yeah. And this is Chronos: The New Dawn.
Yeah. Yeah. Chronos, the New Dawn. Yep. It's just another
Fallout
darkly, dimly lit
meets
creature zombie type game.
like Dead Space, Fallout
Silent Hill, yeah, all of them.
meets Stalker.
Resident Evil, yeah. Kind of a hybrid of some things.
Yeah, fall 2025. So right around October. And this is holidays and Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, nothing new in that one.
Yeah,
They like to pretend it is, but it isn't.
yeah,
And the by the way, none of what they're showing you is gameplay. Just so you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
It's always cinematics with those people.
yeah.
And I can tell you the gameplay is far less interesting than the cinematics. Oh, and by the way, they broke PvP in that game, just in case anybody didn't know that already, too.
Mm,
They broke PvP with their latest subclassing.
yeah. A game in collaboration with somebody coming 2026. Who cares? And then there's a woke fucking game coming up next. Let's listen to this stupid bullshit.
Your father, but he left you this hotel in his will. It's been in your family for generations, much like the caretaker. He's a little eccentric. You'll see.
Let me welcome you to the Grand, a hotel famous across the land. Every room used to be in such high demand. Your wish I'll command here at the Grand.
Well, hello there. It looks like you're about to do some renovations. Would you like some help with that?
Your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, no, it's
If anything should get canceled, here it is.
yeah, no, I mean it's like
Considering that Xbox likes to announce shit and then cancel it.
the type of slop that they put out that they call,
Games.
gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just pervasively hard to. You have to almost hold your breath, otherwise you might actually vomit.
Yeah.
But it's clearly games made not for people who even play games. Like they're targeting an audience that doesn't play video games. Once again, with this title.
Yeah.
Like, and they
So
still
we're
don't
gonna-
understand. They still don't understand that if you do that, you won't sell copies of it.
There are no ghosts at the Grand, is what it's called.
Sure. Yeah.
And next up, we got some mythological game.
Yeah, that's
We got-
Age of
we got some
Mythology.
stuff. Yeah.
Age of Mythology is kind of like Civilization, only a little bit, more about Greek gods and stuff. It's not
Yeah.
really an original idea at all. It's just, more of what you get from the Civilization series, really.
Yeah.
Your tabletop gaming sort of style game.
And then whatever this is, I don't remember. It's like Siege meets Call of Duty meets anything from Kojima.
Yeah. Probably self-inserted himself, too. They always have self-inserts in Kojima-style games. Yeah, Mudang. 2 hearts.
Yeah.
Uh,
Coming 2026 to all platforms except
doesn't seem
Nintendo.
like a game that's targeted for Western audiences, but sure.
Yeah, but games that aren't Western games seem to be a whole lot better and a
No,
whole
I
lot
know,
less
right?
wealth,
Those
though.
are, as it turns out, the best out there.
Yeah. Because the Western gaming industry is collapsing on itself.
Well, it's shooting itself in the foot repeatedly.
Yeah. And at first I thought this was like a Willow and the Wisp game, which it's in a similar style.
Yeah, it's got that same cartoon style.
Well, the same clay animation,
Yeah.
cartoony thing. Also similar to whatchamacallit, that one horror game that's of the same art style where you're trying to avoid monsters and shit. I don't remember it. Little Nightmares. Planet of Luna 2.
Lana.
Okay,
Yeah, Lana
I
2. Yeah.
I don't remember the first one.
Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf. Yeah.
I don't remember the first one.
It's like Children of the Corn or
And here's Bethesda, I think, coming up next again. Yeah.
Yeah, Bethesda can't help themselves, can they?
Well, they are owned by Microsoft now. Here's some Fallout 76 shit.
Yeah.
Which
that's about as interesting as a wet fart to me.
Yeah. Because the launch was awful, and I haven't played it since. Now, some people claim that it's really good. Here's my problem with Fallout 76. When you're over encumbered and you're trying to walk back to your base and you have other people that are playing the game, not NPCs, just following you, laughing at you, and then shoot and kill you and take your loot, I no longer have interest in playing your fucking game then.
Yeah, no, the whole concept was a bad idea. I mean, really.
Yeah, the whole concept of a multiplayer Fallout game is good on paper, but in practice, it falls fucking flat hard. It's not enjoyable for me. In fact, it's annoying as hell for me.
Yeah.
I prefer a single player Fallout game, period.
Well, man, I don't mind PvP games. It's just if you can't make a PvP game where the only people that are really having any fun are the guys that are ganking and being douchebags.
Yeah.
It's not fun for anyone other than the terrible people who shouldn't be having a good time being an asshole. You know, being an asshole in a game shouldn't be rewarded. But that particular series definitely did that.
Mm-hmm. Then we have another Eastern game.
Yep.
Soul Leveling Arise.
Yeah, it's another one of those manga-based, anime games that are just...
There's this, which this was announced. People in the live stream were like, have fun getting sued by Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because this looks like a Pokemon knockoff, and we know what's happening with Pal World, so it is going to be interesting to see if, A, Microsoft doesn't cancel this, and 2, how Nintendo is going to go around with suing fucking Microsoft.
That's a pretty titanic lawsuit, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, that's the lawsuit of the century right here.
Yeah.
And if this does come out, I will be highly interested in playing this. This is probably the only thing that I've seen.
Yeah, Animo. Yeah.
Animo, coming 2026. So 2026 will be the year of Nintendo versus Microsoft in the courtroom. At that point.
Yeah, they managed to.
And then here's the coming of Death. Wait, that's an ad. Fuck.
Yeah, that's an ad. Yeah.
Could you imagine Death Stranding going to Xbox, Sony fanboys going, fuck, even harder, right?
Hey, and then they trotted out poor Tony Hawk to drag him through more shit.
Except for, we talked about this particular thing off stream before we started.
Yeah.
Let me bring myself to full screen here, if I can. Here we go. I have a direct message to PlayStation fanboys here, of those of you that still fucking exist. And the same thing goes for Xbox fanboys of those of you that still exist. And I know some people are going to say that I'm an Xbox fanboy, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm a gaming fan, first and foremost. I don't fly the flag of a particular platform over another. Wherever a game is entertaining, I will buy it wherever it is and play it wherever it is. If I have a choice, then I'll make that choice when the time comes. But when you flip out over your platform's game going to another, you look like an idiot. Especially when, for example, Gears of War is going to PlayStation. Xbox fanboys flipping out about that. A Nintendo exclusive, like Helldivers 2, going to Xbox. Sony fanboys flip over that. You're trading fucking games. Fuck off. Just saying.
Yeah, no, it's like it's as dumb as the Cola Wars. There's not any brilliance going on here.
Yeah. Now let's see here.
Oh, Xbox, I don't play that shit. Oh, that's for, fucking losers. It's like, guys, everybody is a loser on equal footing here.
Yeah, everybody's a loser. Everyone's exclusives are going to everyone else's platforms except Nintendo because they have a hard-on for keeping Mario only on their platform. Because I guarantee you, if I could play a Mario game on my PS5 and stream it on YouTube, I would.
This is where you would cut into that, Family Guy meme about the waiter saying, "Kids, you're both awful."
Actually, here's a better message for anyone who fanboys over a piece of plastic, a console.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
And that's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, let's get past Tony Hawk because we know the Pro
there's
Skater 3
nothing
and
new
4
under
are
the sun
coming
with
there.
regards to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3
And July 11th, which has already been out for a couple days now.
One more nostalgia baiting moves, all that shit is.
Yeah.
And it's, again, it's an affront to our childhood, if anything else.
Yeah. Well, my teen years and your childhood.
Yeah, probably my teen years too, I guess. But
because as it turns out, I discovered that actually I'm the earliest of the millennials because 1981 is the beginning of the millennials. I thought 84 was the last of X.
Their mission, it seems, in the gaming industry right now,
yeah,
is to make nothing new that is good, kill all things that are currently good, if possible, and try to suck the life out of anything that was previously dead.
And then here's Gears of War remake of a remake, or a remaster of a remaster.
Yeah, it's a reboot of a remaster.
Yeah.
Fucking whatever.
It's the original Gears of War, which got a remaster for Xbox One, and now this is a remaster of it for Xbox Series X and, wait for it, Xbox fanboys, PlayStation 5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I said earlier, Gears of War going to PlayStation.
Again, nostalgia baiting us. I mean, like everyone, not everyone, but I mean myself, I have a lot of positive things to say about Gears of War to this day.
But
this is nostalgia baiting again.
Mm-hmm. But
guys, remember Gears of War? You remember those cool days you used to play Gears of War? It was a great game, wasn't it? Well, here's another one. Buy it from us, please.
However, I can confirm on the upside, if you already have physical or otherwise, the Xbox One version of this, you have the option of getting the pre-order of this for Xbox Series X for free. Xbox gave it to me for free because I have Gears of War Ultimate. Mm-hmm. So that means, bro, that if you have Gears of War Ultimate still, you can get that for free yourself. So, And I don't mean just download it from Game Pass. I mean the free pre-order of the digital game at that point.
Sure, yeah, no, I know. It's just difficult. I mean, obviously it's a legendary series, beloved for years, but I mean...
So obviously I'll be...
I hate it when they do money grabs like that, you know?
Yeah. But since I got a free pre-order of it, I'll be playing that at lunch then. Whenever that drops. Which I think is quite close to the end of the year. A Japanese style game. Here. Oh wait, that's Persona 4.
Yeah.
Revival.
Yeah, another Persona game.
Yeah. Well, it's a remake of a remake of a remake of a remake of a remake, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Because that was, I think, like a PS3 game. Then it got
Yeah.
something on the 360. Then it came to PS4. Then it came to PS5. Now it's going to be on Xbox Series X. And here's a Sea of Thieves expansion.
Yeah, continuing game.
Which I don't think I've played since the last time I played this was right after I moved to Arizona, I think.
Interesting for people
So
who
it's
play
been a
it,
couple
but
of years.
I mean,
yeah.
the rest of it's like, okay, yawn.
Yeah. And then we got what looks like some woke shit here.
Well, it looks like the Spider-Man games, but it's
No,
not.
it's not. It's from Skybound.
I'm just saying it's the same art style.
Same art style, but do you think Spider-Man just goes around killing people in their cars like that?
Well, no, obviously Spider-Man games aren't that graphic usually.
But you're right. This is a superhero type thing.
Yeah.
But it's a fighting game, though.
Mm-hmm. Violence against women.
It's a superhero knockoff thing.
Yeah. Kind of like, Kill the Justice League, right?
More like Injustice.
Or that
which was a superhero fighting game. Except for this is a bunch of generic fucking superheroes trying to pretend to be like the Invisible Girl or something, or Storm, or the Flash.
Well, I mean, they're established characters. It's just like it'll never be as iconic as the usuals. Invincible versus,
yeah. Well, Xbox, if you're going to cancel anything that you're showing here,
right? We wanted Mortal Kombat with a Spider-Man skin.
The wait is almost over. Square Enix and Final Fantasy VII Remake is now coming to Xbox.
Another one that's boring.
To piss off the Sony fanboys that still exist. Or fangirls that still exist. Which I've already played that on
impossible to get excited
PlayStation.
About.
Yeah. Because I already have all of them for PlayStation. Xbox Game Studios, which means 50-50 shot at getting canceled then. And Double Fine. Okay, a 70% chance of getting canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And this is that weird typical Double Fine thing, much like Psychonauts type of thing. Except the light tower is an animate creature. Yeah. Phil Spencer going into his spiel about bullshit. And then we get a robot talking to us.
Yeah, game makers always try to make up for lack of willingness to make textures by making their games dark as hell.
Yeah. And Call of Duty Black Ops 7 here.
Uh-huh. Nobody wants any more Call of Duty. Jesus, guys, can you stop?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost comical. What are we going to do? Black Ops 37? I mean, it's going to happen, I guess.
Yeah. At this point. Then the rest of this is the Outer Worlds, like, live show-off thing. So this full, like, nearly 2-hour thing, this last big chunk here is just all about...
Yeah, one game. Yeah.
that particular game. So yeah. So
Uh-huh.
we're done looking at this then.
Mm-hmm.
So your thoughts on Microsoft Game
Yeah, I mean,
Showcase from this year?
there's like maybe 4 games in that whole pile that would be worth looking into. And
Yeah,
that's assuming that you actually are willing to tolerate nostalgia baiting.
yeah,
I mean, the Indiana Jones game, I probably would give that a sniff. But that
yeah,
is shameless nostalgia baiting.
yeah,
And just like, hey guys, you remember that character you love? Well, here's a new game for him. It's like, okay. You know, I mean, it's lazy, is what it is. It's like we're not going to create new characters, and if we do create new characters, they're going to be characters you're going to hate. They don't know how to write anymore. They don't know how to develop a game that's original. And anytime it is original, it's woke garbage. It's like almost no exceptions.
yeah,
When I say almost no exceptions, we're talking about maybe there's 3 or 4 good games in any given year. Whereas if you went back 20 years ago, almost every game was great. Like every game you could justify buying and playing and enjoying and saying was good. Now it's like almost every game is not good, not worth your money, not worth playing, waste of time,
yeah,
mindless garbage. Or worse, dumb garbage that's like woke garbage.
mm-hmm.
Game made for people that aren't going to play it. And then the industry goes, why did no one buy our game that was made for people who don't play games? What happened? Oh my God.
Yeah. So for those that are only interested in our gaming discussions and whatnot, this comes to the end of that right now. So thank you for watching the Drew Dat Games portion of Breaking Rocks. Haha, bro.
Yep.
Now we get into the Drew Dat Underground side of things of Breaking Rocks, which, I kind of feel like maybe I should bring back the Underground Gaming podcast to the gaming channel,
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe. I mean, but
Because
whatever.
I
Whatever
do
works.
also grow sick of talking about politics.
Well, yeah, I know. Definitely not your favorite topic, and I don't
Especially,
engage.
especially with what we have to talk about today, even less so my favorite right now.
I don't tend to go out of my way to engage in political conversation either.
You
Now, if
know,
somebody says, "Hey, you want to talk about this?" or "Hey, what do you think about this?" or somebody starts a conversation that happens to be
yeah,
political, sure, I partake, but I don't love political conversation either.
yeah. So
It is a very it's an unforgiving topic, and it's you don't make friends of anyone. You only make enemies, and you don't really. It's not a satisfying conversation usually. It's a conversation where everybody goes away feeling, yeah, well, what the hell, apathetic. Like everyone goes away from political conversations feeling apathetic.
yeah,
Like there's almost no exceptions to that.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, no,
So
this was definitely a gigantic asteroid impact of a situation, though,
yeah,
politically
so
speaking.
yeah, so therefore, to kick off the political discussion of this particular fucking Trump administration scandal that we got to talk about here, and trust me, it is a scandal at this point. It's shaping up into be one. The only way I can start it with is this.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Yeah,
So on that note, speaking,
still gotta make another version of that one.
yeah, but speaking of pieces of shit, first we're going to hear from Desert Nord himself on X. Where can
Yeah.
I buy a Pam Bondi magical de-existing desk? I would like to leave my bills on it.
Yeah.
And that's from Desert Nord.
Sure, because if we turn back the clock to late February of this year,
Yeah. Which
the
we will in a couple of these things.
Trump administration went out of its way to, according to everybody right now, he never campaigned on it, right? That's the
Yeah.
talk. He never campaigned on this. He never promised anything, according to, even guys like Jeremy over at G&G here.
Yeah. Geeks and Gamers.
He never campaigned on this, according to them, but the administration felt the need to go out of their way to
Mm-hmm.
send Pam Bondi out on a whole bunch of interviews saying, "Oh, well, we've got Epstein files, we've got client lists, we've got everything. I'm looking through it, we're sorting through it, we're redacting names to protect the innocent, but we're going to release all of this, and it's going to, we're going to blow these people's world sky high."
Yeah.
That was February 27th.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, somewhere between February 27th and July 7th, that went into the garbage can.
Yeah.
The files disappeared. The client list doesn't exist. Never existed. We were just bullshitting and pulling your leg. We didn't even say what you think we said. What we said was something else. Epstein never was trafficked girls to clients. We don't have any evidence of anything. All the files I told you about was just a bunch of downloaded kiddie porn that Jeffrey watched that I felt the need to compile on my desk for some fucking unknown reason.
And watch yourself
and go over them
reason.
and make people in the White House watch it too. But you can't see any of that, and we're not going to show it to you. Why would you want that? You sick sons of bitches.
We're not the ones watching it.
It was all the attitude, and they didn't hold a press conference on this issue. Which, by the way, they absolutely need to do that still.
But
a press conference
we also got some other things on this to get through as well.
But they decided, instead of releasing anything, instead of making any arrests or doing any investigation, they've decided to wrap the whole damn thing up. There's nothing to see here. Everybody needs to go home. Donald Trump doesn't know why you're still asking about this. Doesn't know why you care. Like, he can't believe we're still talking about Jeffrey Epstein or anything related to it. And so, yeah, just in case anybody was holding their breath for any of that, you can basically all go fuck yourselves. Because
and Roseanne Barr famously said to Donald Trump on X, even, read the damn room.
Yeah, no, this, as I put in my other tweet, is the greatest mistake of either one of his two presidencies.
But on that note, Elon Musk, who has his own issues with Trump right now, said they arrested and killed Peanut, but have not even tried to file charges against anyone on the Epstein client list. Government is deeply broken. But to be fair, Elon Musk, the Peanut the Squirrel thing was the previous administration. One. And two, they didn't prosecute anyone on the Epstein list either.
Yeah, no one has. No one in any administration, unless we consider, Ghislaine Maxwell herself.
And then the meme he shared, more squirrels and raccoons have been arrested than anyone on the Epstein client list. First of all, it's a black book, not an actual list.
No, I know. There's, in terms of, like, Jeffrey himself didn't make, like, here's a list of all the people who've raped kids with me. Like, he didn't write that list. That's not a list that exists. Obviously, he wouldn't do such a thing. Somebody who commits such heinous crimes would never document it like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So all these people that have done anything with him that's horrible against victims, which there was 1,000 of up until a couple of days ago, now suddenly there's no one to talk about, nothing to investigate, nobody to arrest. All of the 1,000 victims are either somehow all victims of just Jeffrey and Ghislaine Maxwell, two people who trafficked 1,000 people to him only, I guess. Yeah. Okay, very implausible, but all right, I guess. But somehow Jeffrey made billions of dollars. In fact, it is quite billions of dollars. Doing who knows what. Does anyone really know what products and services Jeffrey Epstein was providing and how he became a financier?
Well,
does anyone even know?
Well, he's supposed to be a government informant.
Well, yeah, but a government informant is not like a high-paying position. That's just a strategic alliance. That's like a if you don't work with us, we'll arrest you and charge you and throw you in prison.
Well, we'll probably get into that as we go here too.
That's not
But
where he made his billions. He didn't make billions off of being an informant.
But as we see this article here from the Babylon Bee, fuck Axios, whom is the one that got the unsigned fucking thing, probably from Pam Bondi.
Sure, and the thing about there was, like I was sort of saying this before, there was initially some doubt about whether or not the memo was legitimate and whether or not the Axios story was just bullshit, and whether or not this was just like this was a way of the Axios people of trying to harm Trump, by making a fake story that would piss off the base. But that went away when Trump and Pam Bondi themselves confirmed that this is indeed valid, true, and real. And this is exactly what they're doing on the case. They're closing everything. They're doing nothing.
But speaking of Pam Bondi, this is from the Babylon Bee. Bondi explained she was going to release the Epstein files, but then some pedophiles asked her not to.
Yeah, no, the Babylon Bee is always good with headlines. But no, the reality is that we don't know what it is. We don't know. We don't know the reason. We don't know the backstory. We don't know what it is that they actually ever had. We don't know what their full story of this is. And so we can't draw any conclusions here without complete conjecture and probably being dishonest about it. Like, we could say what we think the case is here, but there's nothing definitive. We don't know anything for sure about this situation. We don't know whether they're just lying their asses off and covering it up because Trump's in it. That's what the left is over there saying.
But
we don't know if it's just like he doesn't care, which is what some of the right people are coping by saying, that he just doesn't care about this. Well, that's funny because his administration cared enough to do their shit back in February that they did. So why do they not care now?
Well, we got a lot to get to here, so.
I mean, and then, people are making fun of the idea that this is just MAGA people fell for it. Haha, you got played. Haha. He got your vote because of this type of thing, and now he's not going to do anything for you. Haha, very funny.
But to some of this article here, Washington, D.C., Attorney General Pam Bondi explains today that she was really going to release all of the Epstein files, but some pedophiles asked her, please not. Bondi stated that she understood the disappointment over her not releasing the client list, which, as they claim, doesn't exist, which has been on her desk since February, so she claims. We don't even know if that's the truth or not.
No. We do know that she claimed that because she sent a letter to Kash Patel thanking him for the information.
I know, but we don't really know if she really had it on her desk or not, though. Is what I'm saying.
She said she did, that's for sure.
And we're supposed to believe her.
No, I know. I'm just saying she said she did.
But she promised the pedophiles that she wouldn't. And as I highlighted this is important here. Sorry, guys. I told the pedophiles I would keep it under wraps, said Bondi to reporters. Look, I'm just as bummed as you are. I had all these great little binders made up with all the information, evidence I promised to release. Then these pedophiles came along and asked me not to, which is super sad. Because now all of these criminals will never be brought to justice. Too bad. End quote.
Yeah, the part that doesn't compute here, and the Babylon Bee, of course, is not serious. It's comedic. Of course.
But this is not too far of a stretch for Pam Bondi at this point, right?
Well, no, but it is, again, we know Babylon Bee is not it's not an actual news article about what was really said. It's just making fun of her for what she did say.
Yeah.
Which, what she did say was, you didn't hear me say what I said, you heard me say, and I don't have anything, and there never was anything, and fuck you for asking. But Trump added the fuck you for asking part.
Yeah, but with the thought of, I'm not going to release it because pedophiles asked me to. The only reaction to that is,
you serious?
Yeah.
But she didn't say that though, so yeah, I mean it's meant to be funny.
But that's not too far of a stretch for her lying, attention-seeking whore ways at this point.
And again, we don't know if that is even what it really even is. Again, it's not. It's ridiculous to say, "Oh, well, she just did it because they politely asked her to not do that." It's like, come on, that's silly, and that's the reason it's a Babylon Bee article headline, because that is silly.
JFK files, MLK files, that's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the direct.
Here we go. This button is
of
what I
the
want.
president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Yeah, the beginning of that clip is the important part.
Well, we'll check back with you. The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being.
Yeah. So she said that.
It really doesn't get any clearer than that.
Yeah.
You had it on your desk in February. Why is it no longer on your desk? And it not only not on your desk, it doesn't exist. It never existed.
To
What
get
the
us
fuck,
everything.
Pam?
And a source had told me where the documents were being kept. Southern District of New York, shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m., thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them, and Cash is also, now that we have Cash here, it's a game changer, of course, and Cash is going to, Director Patel,
Cash is going to be a fall guy.
A detailed report as to why the FBI withheld all of those documents.
Okay, I want to be clear because I think people got frustrated because they were expecting more. You were expecting more, and you didn't find out less than 24 hours before the release. You got a whistleblower that confirmed that there were way more documents that they were supposed to turn over, and then you found out just before that.
Well, sure. And you're looking at these documents going, these aren't all the Epstein files. You know, there were flight logs, there were names and victims' names. And we're going, where's the rest of the stuff? And that's what the FBI had turned over to us. And so a source said, whoa, all this evidence is sitting in the Southern District of New York.
Yeah.
So based on that, I gave them the deadline, Friday at 8, a truckload of evidence arrived. It's now in the possession of the FBI. Cash is going to get me and himself really a detailed report as to why all these documents and evidence had been withheld. And, you know, we're going to go through
probably
it,
more than would fit on a desk here,
but go through it very cautiously to protect all the victims of Epstein, because there are a lot of victims.
Well, you had identified in phase one over 254.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
See,
now,
that level,
is that
level of talking it up, that level of talking up the situation like that is fucking excusable to come back and say, oh, there's nothing here. There was never anything. Fuck you for asking. Like, seriously?
Yeah. And then
this is why people are mad.
Yeah, and there's Jesse Waters saying a former CIA officer just came out and said Deep State probably destroyed the Epstein files. That is entirely possible.
Well, yeah, but he's talking about. But here's the thing, though: if it's the deep state, then we're now talking about Trump's own administration people.
Yeah.
Like that's circular logic. The cope is there's no valid cope here. There's no valid cope here. Possible. There's nothing but invalid, impossible copes here.
And
there's no way this outcome is not bad for Trump and his people. There's no way.
If that's the case, but that also does not excuse Pam Bondi for hyping everybody up and then going, oh, there's nothing to see here.
Well, she needs to explain why she just flat fucking lied then.
But Pam Bondi is causing this reaction in Trump supporters right here. As soon as it plays.
Okay, let's put it like this. I've lost friends over Trump. I've lost family for my support of Trump. I've been called everything in the book, and so have you, from conspiracy theorist to racist to Nazi. I've stood by over and over and over again and watched as this man has done incredible things. I could easily say at one point that this is the best president of our lifetime, maybe ever. But what you're doing right now, Mr. President, when it comes to this Epstein stuff, sir, you guys led us along in this administration all these years talking about Epstein, including yourself. This is something that we feel our politicians are being manipulated and controlled through. You understand, right? Like Epstein recording all these rooms. Why did he do that, sir? If it wasn't to corrupt a politician. We're not buying what you're selling. We watched the FBI pull out all these things from Epstein Island. We know that Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison right now for trafficking, okay? And the connections with her family to the Mossad needs to be talked about. We have questions, and we've waited patiently and patiently and patiently as people threaten us, make fun of us, and call us these conspiracy theorist names that we no longer care about. It doesn't matter because I'll fight for the truth no matter what it is. And that's where we are right now. How could you say this today in your press conference, sir? With much due respect, as a person that went to January 6th to defend the country and the stolen election that was taken from you, sir, how can you sit there and say this to all of us that have been led along about Epstein, including by Pam Bondi of your Justice Department, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, people that we picked to be in the FBI for this purpose, and now all of a sudden you have this to say because we ask questions?
Yeah, sure. If
Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure.
What sucks is he's right. We've had a lot of great wins and a lot of good things happen. But this mattered more than you understood, Mr. President. This mattered to us. Virginia Roberts Guffrey, deserves better than what she had to go through and just passed away, being the last physical victim that would have testified. Something's off. I see it with my own eyes, and I pray to God that your heart get convicted, Mr. President, because this is not what God brought you through an assassination attempt for and all these other things that we had to go through to get you back in office. This isn't it, man. This isn't that hill to die on. If you're implicated, so be it. Own it. I'll respect that more than you dumping us all in the grease right now.
Your voice is a weapon.
Yeah. Bro.
Yeah, no, see, that's my point. That's why there's no valid cope to this. They say it doesn't matter. Well, then, you understand that if this doesn't matter, then the entirety of the current federal government sits on a throne of lies. I mean, the entire current administration sits on a throne of lies if this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if people say, oh, well, don't let it affect everything else that's good. It's like, okay, why is he doing that? He's letting it affect everything that else that matters. He should put it out and say, look, it's not that big. It's a nothing burger. Here's all the files. There's nothing we can do about any of it. It doesn't matter. I'm not involved. I tried to do my best to stop what he was doing. I couldn't do it because, Obama and the guys didn't let me. People got in my way. I was trying to investigate this when it mattered. But now it's all here and there's nothing else we can do about it. Just release the files. I don't understand. I don't understand how anyone lets her get away, Pam Bondi get away with saying a truckload of files came.
Yeah.
And then coming out and saying there's nothing. It was just all, downloaded child porn. What?
Yeah.
So you had the Southern District of New York, you subpoenaed them for a truckload of child porn, and then you went through it carefully and
If that's the
what?
case, and if you subpoenaed child porn from someone and you watched it, does that not make you a fucking pedophile then, Pam Bondi?
I mean, if you should have
If
immediately
that's the case.
said because again, that interview she did was after she received it.
Yeah.
So again, the disconnect here is what she said she had and what she now says she has.
But back to
Or had.
what Trump said there, that was very ill timed
No,
to
like
say that on his
he
part.
basically was trying to chide the journalist guy for how dare you for asking. I can't believe you're
Yeah,
still on this crap.
but
It's like
the way Trump made his supporters, the people that voted for him, feel like he was just saying this about the Jeffrey Epstein situation entirely.
Well, it's not my concern.
yeah,
Right?
no, it really kind of
Feels that way.
It is that.
Yeah. But on another note, we have the press secretary here, Caroline Leavitt, talking, and people were raising a stink about all of a sudden she's not wearing her cross to talk about Epstein.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about what she said.
Caroline, the DOJ and FBI have now concluded there was no Jeffrey Epstein client list. What do you tell MAGA supporters who say they want anyone involved in Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crimes to be held accountable?
This administration wants anyone who has ever committed a crime to be held accountable. And I would argue this administration has done more to lock up bad guys than certainly the previous administration. And the Trump administration is committed to truth and to transparency. That's why the Attorney General and the FBI Director pledged at the president's direction to do an exhaustive review of all of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and his death. And they put out a memo in conclusion of that review. There was material they did not release because, frankly, it was incredibly graphic and it happened.
So they released nothing, though, Carolyn. Nothing.
So, in other words,
yeah, no, a lot of people point to this as another L because
it is.
She's also carrying out the lie.
Yeah.
She's also carrying water for the lie.
And then there's this meme from Cabarello on X. Still no Epstein files? The DOJ we expected. Law and Order Special Victims Unit. The DOJ we got. Legally Bondi.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even Reese Witherspoon's character in Legally Blonde was a better lawyer than Pam is being right now.
Yeah. And then there's...
She didn't deliberately lie to anyone on purpose and then come back and gaslight everybody. Like Pam has.
Yeah, and then people raising a stink about Caroline on the cross thing.
Well, I mean, she didn't wear it for the first time, like, ever at a press conference.
After chastising and defending, chastising the reporter for questioning her wearing a cross and telling her to take it off because it's offensive. And then her defending it, now all of a sudden she's not going to defend it?
Yeah, now she takes it off. It's like, okay. All right.
And of all times now, when you're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, that's a bad look, too.
Sure, when everybody is questioning the honesty of your administration right now, you take off your cross to make a statement. Oh, okay.
And then we got this from Mr. White. The FBI has Seth Richards' laptop. FBI has Humana Abid's laptop.
Yeah.
FBI has Hunter Biden's laptop, which they said they didn't at the time, but okay.
Well, they said it was Russian disinformation, that never even existed. But then they came back and said, oh, yeah, well, it kind of did, actually.
The FBI has Epstein files. Not a single arrest. Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic children or himself. Yeah, there's not a single arrest for any of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But, we're supposed to believe her.
And I also would point out
that the Trump administration cares about justice. Okay, what about justice in these situations?
I also must point out the settlement that J.P. Morgan Chase had to pay.
Yeah.
Well, that's because they chose to pay it instead of going to discovery in the case, because
Yeah.
discovery in the case would have revealed all of the clients of Jeffrey Epstein, and they didn't want that, because then they would lose a whole mess of positive accounts for them.
Yeah, and then there's...
So they decided to just pay the fine.
And then here's the binders that Bandy was talking about.
Pay the settlement money, I should say. Yeah, no, that famous photo op, the one they went out of their way. They went out of their way to court a bunch of MAGA influencers who, some of them are mad right now. DC Drano is pretty pissed off. Jack Posobiec is pissed off.
And so is...
Wheeler's pissed off.
Yeah. As they should be, because as Liz and others said, they were invited there for to meet with members of the Trump administration. They were not told anything about Epstein. They were there for other reasons. And then while they were there, they were given these binders and marched outside to take a photo. They weren't there for any of that. But yet, here we are.
Sure.
And then one of them, who actually had the nerve to actually open up the binder during the photo shoot that he was in, and actually skim through what was in the binder, and he had a lot to say over this weekend at the Turning Point event. So let's see what he had to say.
That's Jack Posobiec.
Yep. So Jack?
I'm getting sick and tired of being lied to. I'm being sick and tired of all the lies. And by the way, I don't care if those lies are coming from someone with a D next to their name or someone with an R next to their name. I'm sick of the lies, and I'm calling you all out.
Yeah.
So I got a question. How many people in this room, raise your hand, you hear about January 6th? You guys remember January 6th, right? How many of you supported a January 6er through donations, through money, through tweets, through social media? How many of you stepped up to support January 6th? Let's see a show of hands. Incredible. Well, let me tell you something right now. I will not rest until we go full Jan 6 committee on the Jeffrey Epstein files and every single client that was associated with this thing has an FBI agent at their door on their phone going after them the same way they went after the Jan 6ers and the peaceful patriots and the praying grandmothers that were on those steps. That's how we should go after every single person that was in the Epstein client list.
So scorched earth.
Well, that's not any different than a usual rigorous FBI investigation.
Yeah.
That's not any different. That's just getting to the bottom of who did what, when, where, and who's guilty of what. And if that means every single person involved gets cuffed and dragged in and charged and they have to make it a frickin' RICO case, then so be it. The FBI used to be a serious organization. And it's amazing that even under new management, even under the management of people who have great amounts of respect from a lot of us, still cannot be run correctly.
Yeah.
Still can't do a real, hard-hitting, meaningful investigation of, well, in this case, the largest child sex trafficking ring in human history. And it's not a big deal to them. I can't believe that we're still talking about it.
Yeah, and then we got a message from Dan Bongino himself right here.
Yeah, Dan's not happy, by the way, as it turns out.
I'm not surprised, because there are talks of him resigning from the FBI if Pam Bondi does not step down.
Sure.
So let's hear from one of the horse's mouths, if you will, for lack of a better...
Nobody has resigned over this. No one. I have an important message now, too. This is directed at the people who know. The people who know I'm asking you as a friend. Life is calling, man. It's time to pick up the phone. Big people do big things. Small people do small things. The courageous are going to speak out. I don't want to hear lectures about, oh, my pension and my... I resigned and walked away from my job, and there was no guarantee anything was ever going to come out of it because I believed in something bigger. So you can spare me the lectures. You'll probably get whistleblower protection. Go get yourself a lawyer and speak out now. You're running out of time. Life's calling, man. Pick up the phone. Nobody has resigned over this.
So yeah, there's the breaking news from Dan himself.
It's why if I must conclude anything, which I don't really want to do because I don't think this story is near over yet.
Yeah.
But if I had to conclude anything, I have to conclude that somebody who is in some meaningful or in some effective way above Donald Trump or above Pam Bondi threatened them. Which is terrifying.
Yeah.
That we may have ourselves a captive government here.
Yeah.
A government that is under threat from some outside force that doesn't want the public to know its evil doings.
And speaking of...
Whether that's a person or an organization, some people point to Mossad, but I don't know. I don't know who that would be even in that case.
Yeah. But on another note, we have Senator John Ossoff. Is that how to say that?
Yeah, Ossoff.
Just unloaded on Trump over the Epstein scandal. Did anyone really think the sexual... Well, I'll just play what he said here.
President Trump promised to end the wars. He promised to release the Epstein files. Did anyone really think the sexual predator president who used to party with Jeffrey Epstein was going to release the Epstein files?
Well, we don't know exactly to what extent Trump had with Epstein.
The only thing that we know Trump did not do is visit the island.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we know that he did not do.
Yeah. He's been pictured with Epstein. He was at parties.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, he spent the early to mid-90s partying with him pretty frequently.
Yeah. But we know that he never went to the island. That's all
correct. We do know that he never flew to the island, yes.
But it is what it is, though. Because now you have senators saying that about the current sitting president.
Yeah. No, it's
President Trump, you have a serious problem on your hand. What are you going to do about it other than sit on your hands and go, why are you talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, we really need to have a press conference. I don't see any other way out of this situation unless they want to just pretend it's not happening and let their own side of politics rail on them about it until they just flat out lose the midterms, which is where they're headed right now.
And then this is why we get memes like this. JD Vance, we need to release the list. Cash, there is no list. Pam attention whore here. The list is on my desk. And then Trump.
The list is fake and made by Obama. Yeah, though that Truth Social post was pretty ridiculous. And by the way, the first time in I would assume Donald Trump's entire online history that he ever got ratioed. Because he did get ratioed on his own platform on that post.
Yeah, and then there's this.
JFK files, MLK.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
I think
Not
we
yet.
already saw this on here, right?
Yes, we did. You showed this
Okay.
earlier. Yes.
Okay. I didn't show this, though. From this guy.
Been a while since I did a video, so I figured today's a good day. Bongino had nothing to do with those motherfucking Epstein files. Look, some of you guys disagree. I didn't block nobody. Let everybody talk their game, right? But Bondi is the one who has to pull the trigger on that. It's not Bongino. He's got Cash and Bondi ahead of him. And you know that. All you know that. But, look, it goes to show you. Look, Bongino left $5 million a year behind. Okay? He built a new studio. He had a radio show. He was making bank. And he fucking let all that go to come work for the government. But he didn't think he was going to work for that Bondi would pull this shit. She fucking stoned him, man. All right? She pinned this shit on him because the MAGA world, Bongino is with the MAGA world and the MAGA world is with Bongino. At least I know I am. All right? Bongino ain't got shit to do with these Epstein files, man. If it was up to him, them motherfucking files would have been released the first fucking day. The first day. And anybody who don't, you know what? I like, some of the guys that came at Bongino, I like them and I didn't go at them and I don't care. Everybody's right to their opinion. But man, I'm going to tell you something. I never met Bongino. Okay? I swear to God, man. I wish I could. Because that dude is straight up. He ain't fake. He ain't fucking, he's one of us. All right? Pam Bondi is the swamp. She's got to fucking go. Okay? And I'm hoping Trump fucking asks for a resignation. She cannot survive this. This is unacceptable. This cannot stand. Okay? So, you know what? If Bongino quits, I swear to God, man, I will stand. I'm standing next to him anyway, but it'll prove it. Just him walking off the job today proves that it ain't him. Okay, it ain't him. So I'll let this go. But look, man, I stand with Bongino. I stand with Bongino 100%. Who's with me? Pam Bondi's got to go. She's got to go. She's got to go. She's the weak link here, man. She ain't fucking done shit. Nothing. She ain't got one indictment. There's all kinds of fucking shit going on out there. All that fucking Russiagate Brennan, Comey, motherfucking Letitia James. She ain't done shit. She's got to go, man. All right. A little hot under the collar, man. But I swear I stand with Bongino. If you stand with Bongino, we're all good. But I stand with Bongino. I'm man enough to admit I love Bongino. I ain't never even met him. But I ain't never met Trump either. Okay? But I know who I can trust. And Bongino and Trump are two guys in Washington I can trust. I'll see you later. Chicago Ray. We're fucking kicking ass, baby. I'm loving every minute of this.
Yeah. Bro?
Let's see, and then the summary here is that it is good to see Dan's reaction and his response to the situation, because it is unacceptable one way or another. Again, what I don't understand is how they can possibly play it down. I mean, I understand that you can't just say, "Oh, well, I'm not releasing them because I'm in them and it's damning and I can't, it's devastating to my case," like Fletcher Reed did in the courtroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't sit there and say that. I know they can't say that, but I don't think that's true though. I mean, if that's the truth, then yeah, we got a real big problem. It's bigger than even the problem we think we have. But if
Yeah.
it's not true, then what exactly is the problem with releasing what they were given? What's the problem? There's nothing there, right? He said there's nothing there. They all say there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Then why can't we see it? It's kind of like your little, it's like having a little kid, and the little kid says, "No, I didn't do anything wrong." Well, they have chocolate all over their face. It's like, we know that something was done wrong, okay, kid? And we know that if you have chocolate on your face, it's because you did something wrong that we know got done wrong. Okay?
Yeah.
So stop lying. Is again that meme clip where it's "Why are you fucking lying? Stop fucking lying." It's like that.
Yeah.
Somebody here is lying their ass off.
Yeah.
And I really don't understand. The biggest question I have about the whole situation, aside from all the other specific questions, the general question is, why is Trump deciding to side with Pam over Dan? That's the dumbest shit he could do.
Yeah, that decision leads to only one response, and it's from President Trump himself.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if he knows what's best for him, he will have a press conference. He will exclude Pam. He will bring in Dan. He will get serious about this. They will go over whatever it is that is so bad or so nothing.
And I would say
whatever it is.
Bring Cash with you as well.
Well, yeah, sure. But see, Cash is kind of on the Pam side right now too, because he's like, "Oh, I'm not quitting. I'm glad to work for Trump.
No,
I don't care what we do. It's fine."
It's been reported that Cash has said, "If Dan goes, I'm going with him."
I would really like to believe that.
But on another note, we got Benny Johnson at Turning Point saying this, and getting a loud pop from the youth of America.
50 Cent? That's our rapper? This is their rapper. Okay. Oh, had to do it. Had to do it. Release the Epstein files, am I right? Yeah.
Yeah. President Trump, that's what the Gen Z want from you. Just release the damn whatever it is you got.
See, everybody has already got the wisdom to understand that we're not going to sit here and say, "Oh, well, you get justice, but you don't, but you do, but you don't." We're not going to pick and choose justice here. We just are being deprived of any justice for the guilty and the innocent. Like, the people who did wrong and didn't do wrong are both getting shafted here.
And then there's a report from James O'Keefe. ABC had this in 2019, but they weren't allowed to do it. And this was captured off air on an open mic.
Sure, she was really, really disappointed that they were trying to kill the story.
Yeah, so this is what happened. ABC had information about Epstein and his clients in 2019.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, "Who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story." Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. we were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. I had it all 3 years ago.
Yeah, the media has been covering this for covering up for fucking years.
Well, and as she said there, also the British Crown. Also,
yeah, it's not just the United States; it's other countries covering it up as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and I would also obviously point to the Israelis and the Saudis too.
Yeah. So it's not just the Trump administration covering it up. It's not just the British Crown. It's many different governments across many different countries on planet Earth covering this shit up. And that's why we, the American people, are demanding, President Trump, you stop hiding and protecting pedophiles.
Yeah, because I mean that is really the only effect here. And the only effect here is that people who did wrong things are getting away with it, and people who didn't are getting shafted too.
Yeah, and however,
nobody is getting what they deserve in this situation, and that's why it's so wrong.
However, let's say that nothing ever gets released. Let's just say that for a second. I know one thing beyond any doubt. Regardless if justice comes here on earth, it will come from the throne of God in the end.
Yeah, this is correct, but the thing about it is that people who are saying that, oh, well, we should just let it go because God will get them. It's like, yeah, but that argument falls apart when we start saying that about every crime. Because if we can't say that about, oh, well, this guy murdered a person, or this guy, raped a kid, or this guy did this, that, and other thing, stole something, or, drove and killed somebody. So let's just let God take care of him later. It's like when we can't have that argument be our justice system.
I agree with you. While we're here on Earth, we can't just sit back and let bad shit happen to everybody just because, oh, God will get him in the afterlife. No, go fuck yourself. We are all here for a reason. God,
why even have any kind of justice system then at all, if that's the argument?
Yeah.
Why would we have any justice system? Why would we make any laws? God will get him. God will get him in the end. So it doesn't matter, right?
For anyone who
it's a cop-out is what it is.
Yeah. For anyone whose opinion is, and I don't want to offend you, but this is just my opinion. My opinion is simply this. If your opinion is, why do we need to bother? God will get him. Well, there's only one thing for you.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
It's not too big of an ask for an agency called the Federal Bureau of Investigations to do an investigation of people who have hurt children.
Yeah.
How hard is that to ask? How much of an ask is that? Too much for them, apparently. Too much for even a conservative Federal Bureau of Investigations to go after these people. Too much even for them, apparently. We either have a Bureau of Investigations full of pussies right now, or we have a Bureau of Investigations full of equally evil people. There is no in between at this point. Either they're pussies or they're evil. And I don't like either answer to that question.
Yeah.
Because I don't support pussies or evil people if I can help it.
Yeah. Consider
So that's the summary of my opinion about all of this. And they do need to hold a press conference.
Yeah.
If indeed they don't want to just completely lose
and
all.
that press conference had better be firing Pam Bondi directly into the sun.
Well, she definitely isn't worthy of her position if this is her level of ability.
She's incapable of it,
if this is her level of ability to investigate something serious, then she doesn't deserve her job.
We don't have a clip for it, so this is the best thing we can do of what should be done with Pam Bondi by Donald Trump, metaphorically speaking.
Okay, kid. Give it to me.
Technically, I could make a version of that. I could make a version of that. That's
well, you
exactly what you're thinking of.
Yeah, because this is, I think, a story that's going to keep going into the next Breaking Rocks, probably.
Yeah, well.
But on that note, I don't think we have too much else other than I will make this announcement for the gaming channel. But before I do, I want to remind you guys of something. Friday night into Saturday morning, I was live playing Among Us with Hello Brutiful. I was live on my channel. She was live on Twitch. So, if you want to hear the full discussion of all of us playing, excluding Desert Nord here, of playing Among Us with the Brew Crew, go to Hello Brutiful on Twitch, go watch that, or Hello Brutiful Gaming, which I'm sure it's up on there as well. If you want to see my perspective of it, go to my gaming channel of Drewdat Games to check that out. But on that note, coming back soon to the gaming channel will be the Underground Gaming Podcast, because after this Breaking Rocks, I grow sick and tired of talking about all this political shit mixing with the gaming stuff,
Yeah. Well.
I personally
it is tiresome.
I just want to bury my head back in the sand like in 2015 and just play games and talk about them again.
Sure, it's kind of like Jeremy says. We just wanted to play games. We didn't want to have to be this way.
Yeah, I didn't, but 2020 made me this way.
Everything between 2015 and now has made us this way.
Yeah. So
as soon as for just simply playing a game, just simply playing a video game by ourselves, we were racist. That's when we couldn't sit here and take it anymore.
Yeah. In 2015, I was like...
Taki? Eve, are you alright? This place is dangerous. Take my hand.
But now, unfortunately, we have to be like...
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, the Underground Gaming Podcast will be coming back. It's got its own logo now that I made. Hence, like the new logo that you guys see up in the top screen for this channel. And the custom logo for Breaking Rocks here as well, which I also made myself, as well as this thumbnail, since I'm doing that shit myself now. Which means that now Nord can only just make clips now for the channel.
I can do what I want.
Yeah. You only got to do one thing now, and that's make clips.
I just don't have to make the clip art if I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't have to make clip art. I can make that and email it to you.
Yeah.
I just got to have your email.
Well, of course you do.
I just don't remember it right now, but...
Well, I literally just emailed you the other day, so of course you have it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But anyway, yeah, no, I mean, I get it. Being able to, sort of be creative with it. I mean, I try to be as much as possible.
Yeah, so you can do that clip for the thing I was talking about with Pam Bondi, because, as I said, this is an ongoing fucking story. I don't know how long this is going to last for. In all likelihood, we'll probably be talking about it like in a week or two from now still, on Breaking Rock 71.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
But as it is, do you have anything else you want to bring up before we leave?
Oh no. I mean, that was story of the week, I suppose.
Well, it's the story of the century at this point.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, it's. I mean, for better or for worse, it's something that they're going to have to deal with, because you can't tell half or more of your voter base to go fuck themselves and expect to have any political future. I mean, people are talking about like, oh, I'll just go join Elon's party. You know what I mean? There's a lot of relenting going on. There's a lot of like, well, then fine, fuck you then, and just walking away. I mean, we had a lot of walkaways from the Democrats, but this is going to cause a lot of walkaways from Trump. And he doesn't deserve that.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
But it's what's going to happen if he doesn't address this real seriously.
I will say this: I'm never going to join Elon's party because he has dual citizenship.
No,
He's
I know,
not fully loyal to the United States.
I'm not a person who's going to stop being a MAGA person, but he's not beyond reproach.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing that's important here. People shouldn't get it twisted. Think, oh well, because we're harping on something that doesn't bode well for Trump's political future or chances, or make him look good, that means we're against him. It's like, well, you can't be a zombie and never criticize anybody just because you say you support them. You can never criticize them. That's not how that works. If you have somebody you support that you can't criticize, or you don't feel like you could ever criticize them, then you're in a cult. You're a zombie.
Yeah, that's the thing. I like Xbox. I want to like Xbox. Yeah. But Xbox doesn't, but Microsoft doesn't like Xbox for some reason.
Yeah.
Which is why I criticized it here on this thing. Same thing goes with President Trump. We love Trump. We like Trump. We voted for Trump. But this does not excuse us from going, what the fuck are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and then like I told you before, on the same token.
Can I finish first?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. But that's the thing. We're not coming from a place of Trump derangement syndrome. We're coming from a place of supporting Trump, from love. We're trying to help here. And that's all I have to say.
It's like I told you before, though. Also, on the other end of things, I can speak for myself here. I was not any kind of an Obama supporter by any stretch of the imagination.
Neither
more
one
of an opponent. But that did not stop me from sitting there and saying, okay, act by act, move by move, signature by signature, bill by bill. Is this good? Is this bad? Occasionally, he would do something I liked. It happened several times at least.
Yeah.
Okay. Most of the time, it wasn't good. I wasn't a supporter, and that's the way it is. But even when you oppose somebody, you will still give them credit when they are right, if you are a reasonable person. And just like with the side we're dealing with now is where we support a guy, but that does not mean that we will never criticize him. That does not mean that we will not point out blatant, idiotic mistakes, which is what this is. So that's where I'm at with it. Like, yeah, I'll be a supporter, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this isn't a mistake and that this isn't a big deal and it just needs to get swept under the rug and go away. Because it needs to be talked about. It needs to be discussed. It needs to be sorted out. And the people who voted for him need to be respected and given what they voted for. Now, some people say, oh, well, I didn't vote for the Epstein list reveal. It's like, okay, great, you didn't. And I didn't necessarily vote for that either, per se. But it's about transparency. This isn't transparency. If people are okay with the Trump administration hiding and holding secrets from the American people, that would be important secrets that would reveal things about them that the American people deserve to know, then they're not being transparent. And they're not being who they promised they would be. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
Even if, again, if Trump's not anywhere implicated in anything, then I don't see the problem. I can't figure it out. What's so damn hard about telling us, hey, here it is, it's nothing. I'm not in it. It's a nothing burger. There's nothing we can do with this. Here it is. Then what's the problem with releasing it? I can't figure out what's the problem with releasing it if it's a nothing burger. You don't hide a nothing burger. No one hides a nothing burger. A nothing burger isn't damning. A nothing burger is nothing.
Yeah. it's as we said before. Apparently, the Trump administration, Epstein,
Well, it's not my concern.
and us.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
That's where we're at right now.
Yeah, and then again, like I said, I can't make any definitive conclusions about any of this because I don't think it's over. I don't think it's anywhere near over yet.
No, it's not. All we
And I
know
don't,
is,
and I'm not going to criticize anyone who won't let it go either, because they're allowed to have their opinion. Anyone that wants to make a big deal about anything they want to make a big deal about has the right to do that. Everybody has their political free speech. They deserve to make a big deal about whatever they want to make a big deal about. If they sound like an idiot, that's their choice. If they sound smart or they're making a valid point, then good for them. But either way, my opinion is my own, yours is yours, and everybody else's opinion is their right and their privilege as an American to say what they feel politically is the truth and what they want.
Yeah.
And you don't have to vote for anybody just out of like, oh, well, I'm pressured to, so I have to. If you don't support people, you should not vote for them, no matter who that is. You should never say, oh, well, I have to vote for them because the other guy sucks worse. It's like if you don't support a person, don't give them your consent to be governed. Don't do that. Make a point of voting for who you actually support. And a lot of people really did support Trump on this in the election. A lot of people went to the ballot box and said, I do support him. This isn't a matter of hating Kamala. I do support him. And now we're sitting here going, okay, what is he doing this for? You know, and a lot of people are bewildered, and he needs to realize that. This isn't about Jeffrey Epstein. This is about everyone else. This is about everyone else. Jeff doesn't matter. He's dead. And goodbye. Good riddance to him. But everyone else needs closure in this. And Trump's not giving it to us right now.
Yeah.
And if Trump can say he doesn't care about Jeffrey, that's wonderful. That's fine. Don't care about Jeffrey. How about you care about the rest of us? That would be good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I had to say about it. So.
Yep. I have nothing further to say than I've already said previously. So with that in mind, as I said earlier, stay tuned for in the near to not so near future of Underground Gaming coming back to the Drew Dat Games channel, the gaming channel, for gaming only discussions, as I want to try to keep the gaming stuff away from this channel. For obvious reasons, because I'd rather do the gaming stuff now.
It's perfectly good to keep those two separate, yes.
Like we used to. So, this is the last gaming one you'll get here on Drew Dat Underground at this point. Which means I gotta look for Pam Bondi fucking photos for a thumbnail for the next one. Fuck my life.
Not hard, bro. Not hard.
Well, Pam Bondi clown images.
Yeah, well, you know, you could always use AI make one.
Yeah, I guess I could try.
You know, whatever. I'm sure somebody's put out those already. I'm sure you can find something like that.
Yeah, and I do have a logo app on here.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Until then, be safe, be well, God bless. God help the Trump administration through all of this bullshit.
Yeah, they definitely need it. And we don't want to see them go the way of the dinosaurs. We want this to be a successful 4 years.
And
we don't want this to end before it even started.
And may you, President Trump, receive the wisdom of the Holy Spirit on this situation, because so far you're shitting the bed on this with keeping Pam Bondi over Dan Bongino.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys hopefully soon. But I don't know exactly when. Until then, be safe, be well, and don't throw bricks at people. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, see you guys.
I will never say I'm sorry, I ain't taking nothing back. I don't care if I offend you.